I watched a movie a day for a whole week. So 7 movies a day. And for my first film, it is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, starring Johnny Depp playing Hunter S. Thomas. Now, if you don't know who Hunter S. Thomas is, that's fine. You don't really need to know who he is jumping into this film. All I gotta say is for the first year, it's entertaining. It's good. It keeps you locked in. It's like one of those old hippie comedy films from the 90s and mid 2000s. Pineapple Express, Dazed and Confused, Jay and Silent Bob, all those films. It feels like it's jam packed into this one, but also mixed with the confusion of Suspiria, if you've ever seen that film. And also a little bit of Wolf of Wall Street, because the film and the cinematography and the acting is just on point. So that's where it feels like it's all those films jumbled up into one. And that's why I think for my first year, it is just the strongest out of all the films. I mean, it is just entertaining all the way through. It's practically almost an hour and 40, just under, but it feels like you don't even get bored of it anywhere in the movie. Like, the whole way through, it keeps you locked in. You want to keep going. You want to see more of this character. Hunter S. Thomas is just such an entertaining guy, rest in peace, but watching this film throughout, I mean, you really start to learn him as an author and a character in and of himself, and I think Johnny Depp plays him perfectly with his crazy type of mentality where he's almost bouncing off the walls. He always has a cigarette in his mouth. He's just this crazy, confused guy in this lost world of Las Vegas where he puts out a narration over almost anything, on America's gamble, America's lifestyle, how they play things off as just, oh, this is normal. And he definitely has like a cathartic way of thinking throughout the movie. And his partner is also this crazy dude, this partner in crime type of guy. And I mean, throughout the movie, you just see it, and it's almost like a Wolf of Wall Street type of mentality, where you, instead of seeing them build up a business and slowly take from people, you see a man from just, flat broke to getting more and more money and then taking tons of drugs, even though Hunter S. Thomas said himself he wasn't actually taking a shitload of drugs. He was mostly just feeling like that in Nevada, which I guess means, the heat almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter. Um, he was just confused and loathing Las Vegas, Fear and Loathing Las Vegas. And I think that's definitely the best title for this film, because that's how it almost seems. You see the characters just take a shit ton of drugs, despite Hunter S. Thomas never taking a shitload of drugs. He only ever took morphine and Adderall and drank and smoked a lot. But overall, I mean, Johnny Depp plays the guy perfectly, because you watch interviews about the man. I mean, he acts like that perfectly, down to a T, and I think that's what's so entertaining about this film. I mean, he plays the guy like he's literally a prefixture of himself, just bouncing off the walls, just losing his mind in this Nevada heat, and he literally says, "I'm losing it. I can't understand where I am." And that's almost pretty much how it feels, but it keeps you locked in. I mean, the acting is great, the cinematography, it's just entertaining. They do a bunch of crazy shit like The Hangover. It's just a great film, and starting off as first here, I think everyone personally should watch this film. Like, this is not even like a suggestion. You should watch this film. Like, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, for my first here, it's such a good movie. It's so entertaining, and Hunter S. Thomas is such an interesting guy. And there's nothing really more to say. I don't want to spoil anything. I think you should just go and watch it. Great film. Starting off high. I love this movie. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And for my second tier, I have to give it to, of course, the man, the myth, the legend. And I'm not just saying that because it's Hunter S. Thomas again. Quentin Tarantino. You know him. Of course you do. Pulp Fiction, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Inglourious Basterds, all of his great films, all of his great successors that he has brought out. But this is one of his first, Reservoir Dogs, his first studio production made movie that he produced fully by himself, acted in, all of the above. But why this is in second tier? Well, the first premise, it's kind of flat. It doesn't really stand on its is his first film, and that takes a lot. I mean, he was just starting off, he didn't really know much, but he just shot his first film, and this was it. Where I think it stands out the most, the gore, the action, the acting, from the people themselves, the actors, all of them. Rest in peace, man. He died recently, but I think if anything, they all pretty much just carry the film in and of themselves. They're really good, and I think the plot itself is pretty interesting itself. But I'm not gonna spoil too much, just because if you haven't seen this film, it is in second tier. So of course, I will recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it yet, and especially for his first film. I mean, this is like the very beginning of Quentin Tarantino, from his whole legacy, like from here until now. And it's just, it is a good film to first start out with, especially getting to recognize him himself. It's very mobster like, it's very gory, a lot of cussing, a lot of crazy nature. There is some good action scenes, not too many, but he had a low budget when he was first starting out. But of course, knowing Quentin Tarantino, he managed to work with it, and he managed to do it perfectly. From just merely just working with, I think, said $1 million he had. I don't know, you could correct me. But for first starting out for his first film, I mean, I have to give it to him. It is still in second tier because it is a great film. The acting and everything carries it the most, and I think the plot line is very interesting. But just the location wise, it kind of is over and done after a while because it doesn't feel like it carries itself too well later down the line. And I think eventually the plot does fall flat later on. But I mean, for his first film, it's definitely better than what I have coming up next. Next up, The Killer, produced by John Woo. Now, if you know anything about John Woo, he's basically the man who invented Gung Fu. Now, if you don't know what Gun Fu is, it's pretty much just think of Max Payne. Anything where the character just does a bunch of spins with a bunch of firearms, blowing shit up, crazy, dual wielding, shit like that. He basically invented that archetype for what is now known as Gun Fu, just crazy action over the top, firefights with a bunch of explosions. Now, I'm jumping into this one right off of Reservoir Dogs. And of course, I know it's an action, I know it's cheesy, it's campy, from 1989. But what I still can't understand is the plot. Like, legitimately, I still can't understand it. Even if I try to spoil it, it's kind of hard to, because even then, it's campy, it's kind of corny, it's a bit, trite, but I mean, it's hard to explain and even spoil the movie itself because I can't really even understand where the plot was going, you know? Even from the beginning, it's a killer, he's a hitman, and he does some other stuff. And again, I'm not going to spoil the film too much because in case if you want to go and watch it, you can. And unless if you can understand it better than I can, I watched it twice, and I still have yet to understand the plot lining between what was going on. And then again, this was a Chinese film from 1989, so maybe it was a bit of a lost in translation type of deal where I just couldn't understand some of the subtitles that were going down because I did watch it in its native language because the dubbing was terrible, and I'm not going to watch a full 2.5 hour movie Chinese just with dubbing over it with English voice actors. But I will give it its flowers. The campy action, it's corny, but it is cool as fuck. I mean, it's definitely action packed. I will give you that, if not more than Reservoir Dogs. And where it falls flat mostly, the plot lining, the characters are kind of boring. I mean, then again, maybe I just didn't understand the subtitles. Maybe it's just from an English speaker's perspective, and this was just really good to Chinese viewers when it was first released. But maybe it's just watching it now, I can't really understand today. But the best thing about it is personally the action and the actual soundtrack itself. It's very like melancholy, dark sounding saxophones, and it's very dark jazz that just plays throughout the film, even when the cool scenes pop up where you know the character is going to have his like second arc and where it just jumps into action again. And the gunfights are awesome as hell. I mean, obviously, this is what John Woo is famous for, is gun fu, you know? He doesn't do kung fu or anything like that. He does the gun fu, and I think it's very corny and goofy archetype that he invented, but it's awesome in the end, you know? It definitely adds up to what it is, but I couldn't understand the plot line for the life of me. It jumps around a lot, the different characters. You don't introduce themselves, you don't know their backstory, nothing else, but maybe it's just from my perspective. But for the third, for the third tier, it's not a bad film. It's not great, but it's not terrible, I guess. Again, there's not much else I can say because I kind of didn't understand it. Probably because I'm just an English speaker and it was a Chinese movie and I didn't really read all the subtitles, especially when they were talking over each other. And I'm not saying John Woo is a terrible producer. I mean, guaranteed this man knows how to make films. I mean, it's a 98% Rotten Tomatoes. That says a lot. So maybe it was just a different perspective. I just couldn't understand the plot line. It was very dramatized, but overall, for a third tier, it's not a bad film. It's not terrible. Something you can just throw on and maybe do chores to. But overall, third tier, great action, great acting, but I just couldn't understand the plot. For the next tier, part four, fourth one, we're getting pretty low. Brain Dead. What is that film? Well, personally, it's just gross. That's really it. It's a New Zealand movie from 1992 where it has an archetype of the 1950s decade. It's kind of hard to explain, but think Fallout, where it's set in post-apocalyptic 1950s nuclear America, but actual nukes went off, but it still has like a future perspective, if that makes sense. Basically, they're trying to play it off as campy, cheesy, families of the 1950s, but the movie came out in 1992, so they obviously had, that type of technology, but think Twilight Zone, 1950s, olden day, but basically the point is, there's a guy, he has a shitty mom and zombies, that's as best as I can describe it. And the only reason it's on here, and yes, it was enjoyable to watch, but my net negative is that it's gross. It's a comedy film, but it's just gross just to be gross. Not any underlining comedy where it has a punchline to it. It's just, look at this, and to put a good light into this perspective of what I mean by just gross, two of the zombies just have sex in one scene. One of the pastors gets turned into a zombie and he screws one of the other zombies and then a zombie baby is born. That's all I can really say. I don't know what the fuck New Zealand was thinking when they made this. Low budget, very gory, very, very gory. More gory than the last two films, but then again, what do you get for zombie films that are made in the post-decade, whatever that means, but I don't know what kind of shit the producer was smoking. It's weird. The girl is obsessed with the main character guy. The guy is kind of a pussy. He learns to become a hero when the zombies break out. If you want to go see it, you can. Called Brain Dead in 1992, but again, there's not really much I can even say about this film, but when I was first looking for it, I accidentally watched another film called Brain Dead that was released in 1996, and wouldn't you know it, that movie was also pretty terrible. So I guess if you're named Brain Dead, you're probably pretty shitty of a movie or a TV show, but that's what I've kind of learned about these campy old 90s films that are very trite and kind of boring and corny and just saturated, I guess, but it's just overzealous with the gore. Comedy isn't funny. The character's just a fucking pussy, man. He eventually becomes a hero in the very end, but the most interesting part, I guess, is like the lawnmower scene. If you want to see that, just look up Brain Dead lawnmower scene. That's pretty interesting. That was actually the coolest scene, if anything. But the ending was shit. Yeah, there's not really else I could say. Fourth tier, but we're gonna get worse from here. One, Personally, it's not actually terrible. The worst part about the film, it's too short and it doesn't show enough, and that is the color of space. And this film, personally, is a body horror-esque film, so of course something like Brain Dead, in which I just mentioned. But this film actually isn't that bad. It's not terrible, but it's also not great. And Where It Falls Flat is, it's super fucking short. It's like an hour 20, and it doesn't add enough to that to get started. I mean, basically, asteroid lands on this farm. Nicolas Cage touches it. He gets sick. It turns people into psycho, crazy monster creatures. I will say the VFX are sick. Very, very cool looking. Like The Thing. Think of that, where it's just body horror, manipulation with arms, mutilation, all that weird shit. But it's so short. Like, you don't see anything else from the characters. I mean, you see Nicolas Cage go a little cuckoo. There's a lot of bright colors, epilepsy warning. It goes crazy with the colors, even at the very end of the film. It's very psychedelic, like Pink Floyd psychedelic. And I think that's just the best parts. There's not a lot that just adds to it. Kind of jumps too much. It jumps back and forth with the characters, from the brother and sister trying to escape to Nicolas Cage going crazy with the purple stuff to fucking this science researcher dude that the sister has it's all over the place basically. And I think it's just because they spent all their budget on the VFX, personally. Because they don't show a lot of the alien, I guess, and I think it's an alien. I don't really know. It's just from the asteroid itself, and it basically just infects everything. And I will say again, for the movie release when it was, the VFX are amazing, and it is very enjoyable to look at. It is cool. It was entertaining with those parts where it showed the world was turning into the alien planet, basically. If you ever seen War of the Worlds, when they're harvesting the people, that's pretty much what it is. But overall, I think you see like one scene where you see a monster, and that's really it. In comparison to like The Thing from 1989, like all the people get infected within the final scene, and you see everything. You just see it once, and that's where it falls flat. It's just over and done. And they set it up for a part two, but there hasn't been a part two. And also, this is based off H.P. Lovecraft. So, knowing H.P. Lovecraft, I mean, this dude goes fucking crazy with his stories. From Cthulhu to the sea monsters to the Sea of Depths, or whatever that game was that came out. I mean, this man is known for writing his body horror, tentacles from the sea, Kraken, sea monster, Cthulhu, and they really just they didn't add to the man's story. Like, it adds nothing. It's boring, and it's basically just big asteroid falls down from planet Earth, family touches it, they all go cuckoo, and then that's it. Like, it's over and done. And that's just where it's like, it's a good film starting out, and there is a lot that goes down, but it's so fast and done that halfway through, it's just everyone's dead. Spoilers, but I mean, they set it up for a part two, but I don't think there is going to be a part two. That's really as much as I can say. Just a short film. I mean, you could go watch it yourself. I mean, it's like an hour and 23. But if you want to go see it, Color of Space. And for the sixth tier, we have one of my videos that I couldn't post because it was copyrighted by Sony. But basically, it's Leon the Professional. And you're wondering, why is it in tier 6? I thought the movie was good. It's very popular. Yeah. Natalie Portman. Yeah, she's 12 in this film. It's uncomfortable. That's really all I gotta say. It's a good film, I guess, but it's just gross. Not like Brain Dead gross. It's the other kind of gross. But yeah, that's why it's in tier 6. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. Yeah. And for my final film ever, Bad Taste, and it is bad. That's why it's in tier 7. And this is actually made by a director slash producer is actually pretty famous. You might know him. Peter Jackson. Yep. The Lord of the Rings man himself. And just like Quentin Tarantino with Reservoir Dogs, this is, I believe, his first studio film. And I will say one thing. Though it is his first film, I think he went a little over budget. And he did not hire good actors. And the gore is terrible. In fact, it's kind of atrocious. It's campy, it's trife, it's boring, slow, it's all around it just kind of sucks. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Also shot in New Zealand, what a surprise. It's about aliens. They disguise themselves as humans. I'm surprised this movie has good reviews. I guess for his first film, it was enjoyable to people. Looking back on it now, I mean, again, for his first film, yeah, it's okay, entertaining. In like one scene when they have a shootout, that's about really it. But I mean, overall, a quarter of the movie, a lot of fucking talking, a lot of talking. Doesn't get to the action till like 40 minutes in, and it's like an hour and 50, bro. It's pretty long movie. Again, knowing who Peter Jackson is, I was kind of going into this with an open mind, expecting it to be really enjoyable, especially for the reviews, which I think has like 89% Rotten Tomatoes. But it's not good in today's standards, I would say. Again, corny, boring, just lazy. I mean, I fell asleep halfway through, so I don't really remember what happened. I just remember the shootout scene, but I mean, again, it's tier 7. And this was the final film I watched anyways, and I have to say I ended it off pretty badly because for the movie called Bad Taste, it left a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, it was atrocious. I mean, again, Peter Jackson is a great director. He's made all the Lord of the Rings movies, but this one just doesn't stand out. There's nothing else to say. It is in bad taste, and it was bad. That's all. Like and subscribe.